Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. I think we're live. Good morning, everybody. Is it, I'm just, I had to think then. Wait a minute. Is it morning or is it afternoon? Now, you really know that I've overdone things, don't you? I'm overdoing things because my brain is not working, but it is 12 or just like seconds after 12 noon. So I think that makes it afternoon. So good afternoon, everybody. And welcome, welcome, welcome to our, I have to groan when I say this. I know that people love this phrase, Wellness Wednesday. I actually don't like that phrase because to me, Wellness Wednesday just means, oh, well, I don't know what it means. I much prefer to think of Wednesdays as that day that we're going to talk about healing, that day that we're going to be sort of, I don't know, talking to people about energy and what we can do with our energy and how we can give healing to ourselves and how we can give healing to others. So that's what I like to think of on a Wednesday. But apparently, Wellness Wednesday is the catchy thing, and people like it. So there we are. Who am I to say no when everybody else is saying yes? So, good morning. First of all, I'd like to say good afternoon. So, first of all, I'd like to say good afternoon to my spirit guide, Gregor, who is, as always, standing to my right side. He's chuckling at me to curse me on mine. No, I didn't switch off my phone. There we are. Done that. And I would also like to say good afternoon, Chris. Good afternoon, my dear.
Good afternoon, Rosemary. Good afternoon, everyone.
So, all right. So today we are going to be talking about healing, but we're going to be. I thought that before we talk about healing, I thought that maybe I'd talk to you a little bit about what, as a spiritual healer, what is my first responsibility, I suppose, as a healer. When we give healing, should I say, when a spiritual healer is giving spiritual healing, which means, when we're saying spiritual, which means we're connecting with our own soul, we're connecting with our own energy, which is the spirit, the energy field of the soul, the energy that surrounds the soul. When we are using that energy and when we are combining that energy with that universal God force, which is, out there for all of us to tap into, then we use the term spiritual healing. It's nothing more and nothing less than that. But as a healer, as a spiritual healer, when I'm called to see someone, if I go to visit a patient or if a patient comes to see me, or very often, as is the case these days, we give healing, through this medium that we're using today. So when we are giving healing, I do impress on my students that we are not, excuse me, that we are not necessarily giving healing to the physical self. So if a patient comes to us with a tumor or with arthritis or with headaches or whatever other malady, physical malady they may have, as a spiritual healer, my role and our role is first and foremost, when we are giving healing, when we are creating this healing energy, when we are using this healing energy, when we are combining our healing energy with that God force, that powerful God force that is out there, when we're combining our energies, first and foremost, our role is to give healing to the soul. The soul is that part of us which we can't destroy. It is indestructible unless we choose to destroy it, and then we're choosing to destroy who we actually are. But the soul is that precious thing that connects us to all things that are spiritual, all things that are connected to that God force, that fabulous, amazing and powerful God force that is out there. Very often, our soul, if we don't feed it, if we don't nourish it, we talked yesterday about feeding ambition, and we talked about a bit nourishing ourselves and nourishing our ambitions. Today we're talking about the most important thing that we must do, and I think that so many of us do neglect, is we're talking about nourishing the soul, feeding the soul. Now, it's up to us, each and every one of us individually, whether or not we choose to feed our soul. Feeding the soul means bringing light to the soul, bringing enlightenment to the soul. Things like being kind, doing good deeds, being a nice person. Things like honoring our own selves. Things like being kind to our own selves. Um, Things like investigating or delving into what does that God force mean? What does that God energy mean? What does it do for us? And every time we're curious, and every time we, for instance, every time we meditate, or every time we give healing to ourselves, every time we do these things, we are feeding our soul. Very often, though, people do not feed their own soul, and so that the soul becomes depleted and the energy that is within us becomes depleted. This is when we become, as human beings, in a physical sense, this is when we become vulnerable. Because not only if our soul is lacking in nourishment, if our soul is lacking in the right kind of food, the right kind of sustenance, if it is lacking, then we are lacking. If the energy of the soul, the aura of the soul is dimmed, then it is dimmed within us, and we are not getting then physically the nourishment that the soul gives to us. I don't know if I'm making any sense to you all. And hey, we're going to have question time in a minute. When you ask your questions, you must remember hashtag Rosemary Altea. Don't forget that before you ask your question or make a comment. But when we as healers give healing, first and foremost, above and beyond anything else, whether it's that we see somebody who's suffering with a really virulent type of cancer, or whether we see someone who's having severe migraines all the time, it does not matter to us in this first step. It should not matter to us how severe the physical body is reacting to whatever's going on. What matters first and foremost is that our role is to give healing to the soul, to bring light to the soul, to bring nourishment to the soul, to bring energy to the soul. We talk about the spirit all the time, but the spirit is just simply the energy that emanates from our soul, our aura, our energy field, the aura or the energy field that surrounds the soul. That's all the spirit is. If the soul is nourished correctly, if it is giving healing or nourishment on a regular daily basis, then the aura or the energy field of the soul shines bright, and it will shine bright within us, and therefore it strengthens us, and therefore it strengthens not just our mind, our hearts, our spiritual awareness, it strengthens us on a physical level also. So before we do anything else as spiritual healers, when we are giving healing, first and foremost, we are looking to connect with the soul of that person we're giving healing to. We're looking to focus for just a few moments. We're looking to focus on giving healing to the soul, so that then the soul can become stronger, lighter, brighter. The aura, the energy field of the soul becomes more and more. And when that happens, very often, as the energy field that surrounds the soul permeates throughout our physical body and brings us light and brings us joy, it brings us strength, it brings us the ability to cope with whatever's going on with us physically. And very often, and I've seen this time and time again, it also affects whatever is going on in our physical body. It affects the energy that is within us, so that our body can become stronger, can become more powerful, and can fight, and often diminish, in fact, even often get rid of whatever the physical ailment that the body is suffering from. So healing when we have a patient come to us, people think this is an odd thing, but initially somebody might come and they'll say, you know, I've got a tumor in my breast. Okay. All right. You many of you have heard the story that Marlene came and told about my puppy Cachorro, who is a healer dog, and how her tumor was sort of diminished, let's say. So, okay, first and foremost, as we say, when a patient comes to us, they have a tumor. As a healer, I am not looking initially, I'm not looking initially to see if we can, you know, I'm not focusing initially on the tumor. I'm focusing on the soul, because I know that without a healing of the soul, without the strengthening of the soul, without the soul becoming more, then whatever's going on with the physical body, if we do manage to get rid of that tumor, if we don't heal the soul in the process, then other things are going to take place. Because if the soul is not strong, if the soul is not bright, if the soul is not bringing light to us, then we as human beings, and definitely our physical self, we diminish ourselves. So once we've given healing to the soul, once we've given that energy, and we can see that the spirit, the energy field that surrounds the soul is becoming brighter and more light, we then can focus. And in fact, using visualization techniques, we can then focus on whatever other issues the physical body has. But first and foremost, it is a healing of the spirit. Now, last night, we did our off the cuff stuff, and we had a lot of fun doing the off the cuff stuff. But one of the questions from one of our viewers was, how do I still my mind? How do I quiet my mind? This particular person had all sorts of stuff going on. She tells us that she was an empath, which means that she was very sensitive to outside influences. And also, when you're an empathetic person, if you're connecting, and especially if you're giving healing to other people, you very often feel their pain and absorb their pain, which, if you're suffering, also makes your pain even greater. So her question was, what can I do to quiet the mind so that I can allow healing to take place within me? I've given healing to many people over the years, probably hundreds and hundreds of people over the years. I don't ask them to do anything but to just sit quietly, hands in a receiving position. You can go on YouTube, you can check this out once we're done with this show if you'd like to, or even you can switch off now and go check it out if you like. But I've done lots and lots of videos and show you in some detail in all of the videos how you can create your own energy, how you can give healing to yourself, and how you also can give healing to others also. So you can go check those out. But I wanted to talk today about what are we supposed to do if we want healing, or whether we want to give it to our own selves, or whether we want somebody else to give it to us. What are the preparations that we're supposed to do for ourselves? And I smile really, because the only thing that you need to do as a recipient of healing is to want it. Because despite what is going on in your mind, despite what is going on in your head, despite the thoughts that are going on around you, if you have a healer who knows what they're doing, you're going to get healing no matter what. A lot of times we do absent healing or distant healing. So in other words, I'm sitting here in my living room, but I can find my patient in England, and by my thought process, my visualization process, I can create healing for that person in that moment. Now, of course, it helps if that person knows I'm doing it. That person can sit quietly and participate in that. They are open and they're willing, and they are absorbing. They know when to absorb, and they quiet their mind simply knowing All this is quieting the mind is simply knowing that someone is giving something to you which is precious, and you sit down and you just take it and you trust it and you allow it to absorb within you. But how about the person who's out in the supermarket shopping? They're on the other side of the world. They don't know you're sending them healing at that particular moment. How about the guy who's working in the factory? He's on a machine. He's really dirty. Can't get the bolt off of the machine, and he might be, sort of, maybe the air is a little bit blue around him. He doesn't know that we're sending him healing in that moment. So how does it work then? What do we have to do to be prepared? And again, it does help if you know that someone is sending you healing. They'll say, tune in with me at such a time. Then it really does help then, because you can just sit quietly somewhere and trust in the process, because that's what you need to do. You need to trust that whoever is sending you healing is doing exactly what they say they're doing in that moment. And you just be quiet, shut up, stop talking. If you can't quiet your mind, it's okay, just for 1 minute, and that's all it takes. It's 1 minute. Just for 1 minute, just sit still and allow the process to happen. If you are sitting still and allowing the process to happen, what's happening is you're participating in that moment, and so you more readily are absorbing that energy. But don't think that God worries. Don't think that God force is hindered or has barriers to giving healing to that guy who can't get the nut off of his machine. Don't think that God force can't surround the person in the supermarket worrying about which piece of meat to buy or which vegetables to have for dinner. Don't think for 1 second that God force is not all powerful and all knowing and is able to wrap around a person and give a person healing when they need it. And this is the thing about healing. The healer has to trust. How do I know that I can combine my energy with that God force, that God energy that is out there? I don't really, do I? But I'm trusting, because I have a faith and a belief. So I'm trusting that that's what's happening. And because I have a faith and because I have trust, I don't question it. I simply do it. Somebody, in fact, many people have said to me through the years, what is your success rate of healing? And they're always amazed when I say, well, actually the success rate is 100%. Do you believe that? 100%. And again, I will remind you all, many of my patients have passed. Of course they have. Many of my patients come to me when their illness is so far gone that on a physical level, I cannot necessarily, reverse things, although it has happened sometimes. But I'm not looking as a healer to give healing necessarily to the physical. That happens automatically. The healing of the physical body will happen once the spirit is grown, once the spirit is fed, once the spirit has become light, once the spirit is shining throughout and permeating your body with its incredible and beautiful energy. Once the soul is being fed, let's say, and is shining brightly through us, then whatever happens, sometimes the physical body, whatever is going on, it's miraculous to watch it. Sometimes it's really miraculous, because you see people changing, you see their physical self changing, you do see them becoming well, and you do see them becoming whole. But let's say you, as a healer, you cannot do anything for the physical body because the decisions have already been made. I know that every single patient that I've ever had is touched. I know that my rate of success is 100%, because I know that in some small way, combining my energy with that God force, that God energy that is out there, I know that in some small way I've been a part of watching a soul which was depleted, which was becoming less, which was sort of becoming tired, which was becoming worn. And I've been a tiny little part of being able to help the soul, to feed the soul, to allow the soul to flourish, to allow the heartbeat of the soul to grow really, really strong and really, really powerful. And I know that I've been a teeny little part of that. It's a little teeny cog in God's big wheel, let's say, of giving healing to that person, giving healing first and foremost to the soul, and to allow the spirit of that soul, the energy of that soul, to increase and to become healthy and to become joyful. So, how do we quiet the mind? Trust. How do we quiet the mind? Just sit still for a minute. That's all you have to do. Just sit still for a minute. We do our, and you can find this on YouTube. If you just put in Rosemary Altea, or you put in Healing Hands Around the World, every single morning at 11 a.m. And it doesn't have to be 11 a.m. my time. You don't have to sit there and do the math and work more. If it's 11 o'clock her time, what is it my time? It doesn't matter. At 11 a.m. your time, wherever in the world you are, you just take 1 minute to be quiet, shut up, stop the talking, take a breath, allow your mind to become at one with whatever it is that you're doing. Focus on sending out your energy, and all you're doing is wanting to join with that God force. Dear God, please allow me to be a part of your healing energy. Allow me to be a part of the healing work that you do. Please, God, allow me to join my energy with that God force, with that powerful universal God force that is out there. Take my energy, allow me to be a part of this process. So by the time you finish saying that, you're done. It takes, I don't know what it took there, 30 seconds. That's all you need, 30 seconds to a minute. All you're doing is you're combining your energy for that brief moment of time with that God force, with that universal God energy that is out there. And while you are saying this prayer, you're not thinking of, what I'm going to have for dinner tonight. You're not thinking, gosh, I wish I could get this machine fixed. You're not thinking of anything but combining your energy. Dear God, please allow me to combine my energy with that God force, with that universal God force that is out there. And remember always at the end of that prayer to say, dear God, I will to thy will. In other words, what you're saying is, whatever you decide is right, I'm going with it. I trust you. Whatever you decide, and however you decide to use my teeny tiny little bit of energy, which I willingly give to you in for this moment, or for however long you need it, whatever you will, I'm happy with that. I trust you to know that you're going to use my energy in a good way and in a positive way. So Hands Around the World, our healing minute. And can you imagine that I'm not saying to you, you've got to sit down and meditate for an hour? Can you imagine that? Well, I don't actually meditate. Have I shocked you? Oh my gosh, really? I can't meditate because what I do instead of meditating, as soon as I sit down to meditate, I start, having a conversation with whoever's around there. I can't do it. Although I do instruct my students and I do encourage them to meditate, because again, it is a way of quieting the mind and being able to center yourself and being able to sort of put yourself, when I say center yourself, I'm talking about putting yourself in a place, in a good place where, you can breathe, you can take a step back, and you can allow that God force to take over, to use you in whatever way. So meditation is a good way to sort of get you into that if you can manage to meditate. But you don't need to. So if you are, you have someone who is talking about you've got to prepare yourself, you've got to eat the right food, or you've got to fast. I've heard that one so many times. I always fast for 24 hours before I give healing. Well, good luck with that, because I would be a dead person if that were the case. Some people feel the need to do that. If you're one of those people, off you go and do it. Whatever you feel you need to do is probably the right thing to do for you. But well, I'm you know me, I'm too busy in the kitchen. I can't fast, it's impossible. You know, when I go to a party or I go to an event and you see all this delicious food on the table, and most people can sort of look at it and think, I'll just make myself a plate in a minute. I'm a grazer. I've got to just have a bit of that. A little bit of that. And before I know it, I've gone from one end of the table to the other and back again. And before I know it, I've eaten more than the plateful I might have made for myself if I'd made it in the first place. So I like to feed myself. I like to feed myself both physically, but I think more importantly, I like to feed myself spiritually. Our thought for the week is the power of words. Well, come Sunday, you will see we talk about kindness and acts of kindness. There's nothing kinder that you can do than to feed your soul. Be selfish with your own self. You know, sort of, you can wake up in the morning and say a small prayer. Thank God for, you know, whatever He did for you, or whatever you hope He might be doing for you during that day. Or combine it for just a moment, or even in the shower. You know, combine your thoughts with something that's going on there that you want to connect with in a spiritual way. Little things like that. You don't have to sit and meditate for hours, and you don't have to do, you know, major exercises. It's just a thought process that should be natural to you on a daily basis. And hopefully, as we're doing these shows, they're becoming more and more and more natural to you as we go along, and you're seeing that it's, you know, with no great effort at all, you too can combine your energy with that God force that is out there, and you too can find that quiet place within you without having to, you know, turn somersaults or do backflips or whatever else it is you might think you would have to do in order to become, you know, quiet, in order to become still, in order to be that person who can give healing to yourself or to others. It is a natural, and it's a normal, and it's an everyday process. Right, Chris. Think I'm done talking for a minute or two anyway. So I know I can see we have a few people on. So do we have questions or comments, or what's going on?
We do, Rosemary. Sandy's asking, I'm wondering if you have some advice on how to protect yourself as a medium.
Again, well, uh, before you begin healing, or as a medium, before you begin working, I mean, well, it depends. You see, the different mediums work in different ways, but don't ever be afraid to ask, say a protective prayer. Dear God, please protect me during the work that I'm doing today. It's done. You don't have to, again, the I have watched people so many times. I've been to many spiritualist churches in my life. I've watched people who have, as mediums, who have been taught to do some sort of weird ritual thing beforehand. If it makes you feel better, oh, do it. But I can tell you now, there's no need. If you are a medium and you are truly in touch with your own soul, and you are truly in touch with the spirit world, all you have to do is simply say to them, or say to God, or just throw out a prayer. Dear God, please protect me in the work that I'm doing. And don't forget to always, you know, at the end of the day, to say thank you for that protection. But you don't actually have to do anything else. You really don't. And you don't, you know, I used to talk with my students. If one of my students felt that the need to be, let's say, a little bit dramatic with what they were doing, or thinking that they needed to make sort of huffy puffy noises or whatever, I would just simply tread on their toes as they were, you know, because I won't have it. I'm a feet on the ground kind of a person, and it seems to me that all you need to do is when you ask God for that help and that guidance and protection, well, it's a given, isn't it? It's a done. You don't have to do anything else at all. So I don't know where you learned. I don't know who you learned with. I don't know what you've been taught, but honestly, just ask. Um, the famous quote in the Bible, ask and it shall be given unto you. Well, a lot of us can say, well, I asked for $1 million and I didn't get it. Or people can say, well, I asked, to be cured. They'll say, I didn't get it. But actually, it depends on what you mean by a cure. People are asked, please can I be healthy? And then they go out and eat 2 dozen sausages. No, actually, you you got to help God along. But as far as mediumship, as far as working in the spiritual realm, if you ask and you are respectful, and remember to say thank you. So I think it's important to say thank you. Then then you're good to go. You really are, Chris.
Julia says, lots of love from the Netherlands to you all.
Hi.
I think I am a water soul type. I am sure what to do. I'm not sure what to do if I am writing. Always thinking, wanting to learn more, and thinking again more questions. I am so afraid to trust other people. And I have tinnitus. My head is always in sound.
Oh, yeah.
I do not know silence anymore, and I am in fear. But I love the Lord God, and I am so thankful for your hours of the internet. You heal me so much. Thank you so very, very much.
Well, I love the fact that you are curious, that you ask lots of questions and so on. Now, let's be clear. You have tinnitus. Some people live on highways where there's continual noise. Some people have to live amongst construction. When I'm talking about quiet, my darling, I'm talking about the quiet that is within you. Don't use your ears, use your mind. You can become quiet within you to the point where any noise can be blocked out, even your tinnitus or tinnitus or however you want to say it. You can literally find that quiet place within you. It might take you a while to do it. It might take a few times of practicing. I think that if you've got it in your head that you can't hear, that you can't be quiet, then can't is a negative. We talked about power words. Can't is a power word. I can't do this means that you probably won't do this because you're already attaching a negative. Bringing in a positive energy, I can quiet my mind. I can become quiet inside, and all of that noise, that external noise, including, any physical stuff that's going on. You can literally, by working at this and practicing with this, you can actually find the quiet within you. You can find the silence within you. When you start to connect with your soul, it's an incredible thing. Your soul is so quiet. It is so there. It is so present. And all you will, if you practice this, I promise you, if you practice and you sort of trust in yourself and you trust in God, as I think you do, then you know that the only thing you might hear, which of course is what we want to hear, you might hear the heartbeat of your soul. And boy, oh boy, that is something that you do want to hear over and over again. So, just be at one with your soul, my darling. Chris.
That reminds me of what your father said to you on Sunday about in the silence there is purity.
Yes. Well, yes, on our cooking show, my daddy had quite a bit to say actually this week. Uh, and he said he gave us all this message in the silence there is purity. And the purity of being able to be so silent and so silent within you, to be able to hear the heartbeat of your soul. I don't think you can get more pure than that, actually.
Eric's saying, this is an amazing subject today, Rosemary, and thank you.
Well, thank you, Eric.
Rhonda says, you've helped me tremendously with the wrestling match that goes on in my mind over my alcoholic son. I send him healing daily. With your help, I realize I may not be able to help save his physical being, but I can love him as he is and help
Yes.
heal his soul.
I love that. Good for you. Good for you. Takes great courage to share these things with us, but we're so grateful that you do.
Carolyn is asking, do we give healing first to feed our soul? And then are we ready to send healing to a loved one suffering pain?
I think it's very important when you first begin healing to go through that healing process of giving healing to your own self, absorbing that energy, absorbing and connecting and trying to connect with that God energy, which is giving healing to you. And once you have done that for yourself, and again, I would recommend if you go to our healing hands around the world, we encourage people all over the world. We have people all over the world doing this with us at 11 a.m. Your time, wherever in the world you are, is fine. Just spend whatever time it takes to say the prayer. And there are no special words. Use your own. Dear God, please allow me to connect with that incredible, powerful, universal God energy. Allow me to be able to create my own energy. Just use your own words and connect with that God force and ask that you'll be allowed to participate. And and it will happen. And by the time you said the prayer, and by the time you said the end of the prayer, which should always be, in my opinion, you can choose to do or not, but in my opinion, it should always be, dear God, I will to thy will, because that way you're saying you're making an affirmation, you're making that affirmation to God, and you're making that affirmation to yourself, that you trust that whatever God is going to do with your energy, then it's the right thing, and it's something that you would like for your energy to be used in that way, your energy. But it's important that you replenish your energy, so it's important that you spend time giving healing to your own self. Yes. Takes a minute. Chris.
Twiggy Leaf has a couple of questions. So
Okay,
first,
Twiggy.
I was wondering if you could elaborate on the importance of breath work when given healing, and how important is the laying on of hands while healing? Because when my dog had knee surgery, I didn't want to touch it too much when giving healing. Instead, I put my hand on his back.
Okay, well, again, first of all, the breath thing, breathing. And again, I'm going to advise you, if you haven't seen any of the healing videos, go to YouTube. If you have struggled and you can't find it, email Chris, KRIS, at rosemaryaltea.com, and she'll tell you exactly where to find she might even send you the link if you're really nice to her. But go and take a look there, because it is important to do the breathing and to use your solar plexus. It is important to sort of do that, that centering of your own self, so that you are ready and you're in tune, and you're raising your level of consciousness, and you're doing all of that. So that part, go to the YouTube channel. As far as the importance of laying on your hands, well, okay, so you can do it in a variety of ways. You absolutely do not have to put your hands on that particular spot. Remember, healing is first and foremost giving healing to the soul. Do you know where to find it? Is it seated in your bottom? Is it seated in your chest? Where is the soul? The soul is within you. A living thing within you. You place your hands anywhere on your body or anywhere on your patient's body, and it's going to work. So it doesn't matter. But also, what if your patient is not available? They're at the other side of the world, which I have patients who are way the other side of the world. Then, we can thought process. Our thoughts are the most powerful and most positive. So you send out your thoughts. You can visualize that person. You can visualize wrapping that person in a blue blanket. And again, if you go to the YouTube channel and find Healing Hands Around the World, with me, I will talk about these things to you and I'll show you how to do these things. So at the risk of repeating myself, you don't have to put your hands on someone. It's about wrapping your energy around them. It's about connecting with that God force and knowing. But if you have a particular person or a particular patient you want to send healing to, then you visualize them and visualize you wrapping your energy around them. Visualize a blue blanket or visualize whatever it is that you want to visualize. And again, I'm going to direct you. Go to our Healing Hands Around the World. Is it Rosemary Altea Healing Hands Around the World, Chris, or is it just going? Can they just find it by putting?
Yeah, it's on your YouTube and it's under healing. So if they put in the find heal and it'll come up.
So there you are. Right. Keep going, Chris.
All right. This one's a little bit long. From Julie. I really love your no nonsense approach to healing. It's so refreshing. This month has been brilliant listening to you and hearing your stories on YouTube. My neighbor is very negative, but quite lonely. And as I have some health issues, it can be challenging for me to keep upbeat. It can feel like hard going, but for me, protecting me and a slight distance, not agreeing is really important, but it can still be tricky. So do you have any comments to that?
I do. You're telling me that your neighbor is very negative and she's very lonely. Well, surprise, surprise. Because if you're a negative person, it is possible. Sorry, I've got a little thingamy, little gnat or something going on here. Anyway, so we've all had this experience, right? When we're feeling great, we're having a good day, we're feeling very positive, and then a friend comes for tea or for coffee or whatever, right? So she comes, sits down, we have tea, coffee, whatever. This person is bringing in with them so much negative energy. They may be having a lousy time. They may be feeling really, really down. They may be feeling, sort of just depleted energy, whatever it is. When they leave, your fabulous day has gone down the drain because now you're feeling lacking in energy. You're feeling negative energy. It's draining to be with someone who has negative energy. What is happening is this. Now, we all know about the aura, the energy field, and what most people don't understand is our energy field can, depending on how positive and how powerful it is, your energy field can stretch to easily 15 feet, maybe even more, which means that we're all walking around and everybody's got an energy field. So I'm bumping into your energy field and you're bumping into my energy field, and those energies will meld together because that's what it is. So if you've got a lot of negative people going around and you were positive, your energy field is being affected by everybody else's energy field. You're rubbing shoulders with their energy, which is not so good. And so you're being influenced by their energy, by their negative energy, and you're absorbing that negative energy. So consequently, when they've left your house or whatever, don't you feel bad? I was feeling great this morning. I'm feeling really lousy now. Likewise, you can be having a bad day, you can be feeling really, really down, and you have a friend who comes to visit you and they are positive and happy and outgoing. And again, their energy field is bouncing with this beautiful positive energy and it's flowing over you without you even realizing it, and you're absorbing it. And when they've gone, you've sort of got a smile on your face and you're thinking, wow, I feel great. That feels great. It's important as healers, before we even begin to think about healing, it is paramount importance for us to make sure that our energy, that our aura, that the energy field is as it should be. You don't have to be, wow, positive, happy, blah, 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 but you do have to have some sense of calm and peace. And a little bit of joy in there goes an awfully long way. And when you understand that you're giving healing, what more joy could you have from knowing that you're going to be giving healing, not just to you but to others? So this is why it's important. And the question earlier was very important: do we give healing to ourselves first? Because we have to get into that right frame of mind so that we are not going to bring any negative energy. And if you're feeling the least bit negative, do not do healing. Don't do it. Don't send it out there unless you're sure that what you're sending out is going to be great, is going to be light, is going to be bright, is going to be joyful. So it is important. And I think that, I think that, very often it's sort of like that crowd mentality, years ago in the, what they call that. I'm trying to think what they call it, but when a group of people would get together and one person would, be saying, let's hang him. And then all of a sudden, nice, good people, good citizens of the town would be found with, it's like a mob mentality. And the mob mentality is, let's do it, let's go. We see it here all the time. We see mob mentality. That ridiculous councilwoman who joined in with the mob mentality, encouraging that mob mentality, which was negative mob mentality. I mean, actually not ridiculous, worse than ridiculous, because people who are encouraging this mob mentality, this negative mob mentality, are the worst kind of people. But that we're affected, aren't we? We're affected by what other people do. If we go into a supermarket, we're amongst lots of people, and it is our job to make sure that we're feeding our soul to go in there. I'm positive. I'm happy. Whenever I go into a store, people think I'm a crazy person. You might think I'm a crazy person. I go into a store. If you saw me, I'm smiling. I'm saying hello to people I don't even know, but I'm smiling and I'm happy. I'm not doing it because I'm not doing it mindlessly. I'm doing it because I want to make sure that, see that negative person coming down the aisle towards me? No, 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 no. This is not happening. I'm affecting him before he affects me, infects me, because people's negative energy can infect you and affect you greatly. So you have to make sure that you're the one who's doing the infecting. And I like to do that. I like to, I have, if I have a waiter who's not very pleasant, or if I go into a store. I went into a store recently and they had something I really wanted, been looking for a long time. And the woman was so miserable and she was so not buying into it. And I was smiling and I was asking, do you have any more of these? Because I need some more of the, and I've got to go to the storeroom. And I see that as a challenge. And I just am extra nice and I'm extra positive, and I make sure that my energy is more so. I might breathe a sigh of relief when I come out and think, gosh, that was hard. But my challenge is, I'm going to infect you. I'm going to hopefully make you, at least, even if it's not a big smile, I want to see you smile a little bit, because it's about healing, isn't it? It's about helping people to feel a little bit better about themselves. Chris.
Betta says, I don't know how it could be, but my friends say each time they are next to me, they feel good. Their sadness goes away. I am a positive person, but I behave normally. I love to live in peace with me.
Well, there you are. There you have it. That's a perfect example of what I've been talking about, Betta. You're doing what comes naturally to you. So, people feel better around you because you have that good energy. So it just confirms what I've just been saying. Chris, how are we doing there?
Just got a couple more, Rosemary.
Okay.
Rhonda says your book, You Own the Power, is a great book and very helpful with breathing and learning to be quiet.
Oh, good. Good. Well, there you are. Now you all have to race out and say, where can we get it from? And if you do want to know where to get any of my books, you do know, don't you? Chris, K-R-I-S. Here we go again, Chris. Chris, K-R-I-S, at rosemaryaltea.com. And if you want to know more about consultations, or if you want to know What else, Chris? Oh, we're doing a fantastic webinar on the 26th of June. We've already done one. It was very popular. It was very successful. I shall be giving messages from the spirit world. We, Greg Eagle and I, will be giving messages from the spirit world. And the whole webinar for the whole 3 hours will be me, talking to the spirit world and giving messages to some of you who have joined the webinar. And those of you who don't necessarily get the message will certainly see how it works when we give messages, when a medium will give messages, how clear they are, how precise those messages are, how beautiful those messages are. And so you'll be there with me in a virtual room with me, but the spirit world will be all around us, and I shall be asking, and who wants to talk to us next? For 3 solid hours, we'll be doing that. That is on the 26th of June. And Chris tells me tickets are already selling. So if you want a place, you better hot foot straight to it. Go to my webpage, rosemaryaltea.com, or one word, and get those tickets. And now, before they sell out, because we only do small groups, we do not do large groups when we do these webinars. I don't like to have the webinars to be too big for a variety of reasons. Chris?
Jane says, I'm really enjoying the discussion around negative energy. I describe this as a darkness in people.
Well, it's I think that negativity is it's just toxic, isn't it? It's toxic energy. It's poisonous energy, which is another reason why it's important for us to always to maintain our healthy aura, our healthy energy field. It's very important for us because there are so many people who are negative. And I think so many people don't mean to be. They don't know how to change. They don't know what to do about that negative energy. So it's up to us to share, which is what I'm going to ask you to do. If you know people that are out there who really need some help and some guidance, that's what we can do. That's what you all can do, is to share and to click like and to do all those things that we need to do to get this message out. Negative energy can be very toxic and very, very destructive. And I don't allow it in my house. And going back to the lovely lady who asked the question, talked about the neighbor, don't you worry if you're dealing with your stuff. I know it's nice of you to think about the neighbor. Of course it is. But you can do small things to let her know you're thinking about it, but you don't necessarily have to stay in that toxic environment, do you? So you can, you do small things for somebody without actually placing yourself in an environment for too long and being infected by their energy. You just think about it. Every time you come into contact with someone who's negative in any way, mean, just disparaging, in any way negative, just think, you better build your armor, everybody. Get your positivity going. Put your hand up to them and say, sorry, no negativity here today. Really like you, really love you. I'm glad you visited, but negativity today. Thank you very much. You have to tell them you don't want it. And sometimes people don't realize that they're doing it until you point it out. No, you're not going to do that. No. And either people take offense or they start to laugh and say, oh my gosh, you're right, I am being really negative, right? And when you say to people, I do not want your negativity, you're not infecting me with that negativity. No. You very often get a positive response from them. So that might be something you might want to try also.
So there you go, Rosemary. That should wrap it up.
Right. Well, do you know what? You're right. Wrap it up. Let me see. Do I like that phrase? Shall we wrap it up in blue? Shall we wrap it up in a little bit of pink? Pink's for love, blue's for healing. Or let's have a little bit of green in there as well. I'm sort of wrapping myself in these colours, the colour green brings peace and harmony and tranquility. I think I'm going to give myself some of that today. I'm going to go out and water my garden, and I'm going to go out. What else am I going to do today? Well, I'm going to make myself some lunch. So we are, yes, you're right, Chris. We're wrapping it up. Who knows what we're going to be cooking on Sunday? Chris and I have a little debate going on. I'm going to check and see what goodies I can make for you. If anybody's got any suggestions, of course, you can always write them in too. We shall be here tomorrow morning to be doing our, what is it? The Spirit World Sees All. Yes, of course, as usual. We shall be here on Friday. We have another volunteer. Do we have a name, Chris, for that volunteer?
Yes, it's Carol.
So Carol is going to be doing the bottom brick with us. Carol, wherever you are, if you're listening or not, whatever, we look forward to seeing you on Friday. I think that's is it 11 or 12, Chris? I think it's at 11.
It is at 11, yes.
So tomorrow, Thursday, 11 a.m., the Spirit World Sees All. Friday, oh, Carol, you're being very brave. Carol's going to be on the chopping block, so to speak. Or as my students say, oh gosh, she's put me in the hot seat. I promise you, Carol, I'll be gentle with you. I'll be nice with you, and we'll see if we can help you in any way. We're getting so much response from the bottom brick exercise. People are loving every minute of it. And on Friday, is story time. Yes. Don't know yet what story I'm going to tell you, but I've got one or two little ideas brewing. Somewhere in all of that, we may even do one or two off the cuff stuff. So be mindful of that. Watch for that. We did one last night. So yeah, we might be doing something. Who knows? It depends if the mood takes us, right, Chris? If the mood takes us, we'll be doing off the cuff stuff. And on Sunday, of course, the very last week of our fabulous anniversary, 25-year anniversary of the Eagle and the Rose, the first publication of the Eagle and the Rose. It'll be amazing. We're going to, and of course, I'm still celebrating my birthday. I'm going out to dinner on Saturday night to celebrate my birthday. I know it was last week, but who cares? We're going to keep the positivity going. What shall I make you on Sunday? Shall it be something chocolatey, or shall it be something savoury? Oh, I don't know. You have to join me on Sunday at, is it 12 noon, Chris?
Yes.
Sunday for our Rosemary in the Kitchen stuff. So there we are. So until I see you again, watch for us. We'll be invading your home. Until I see you again, please, all of you, thank you so very much for joining us. Thank you, Chris, once again. And I would like to especially say thank you to Great Eagle, because he's always there and he's always with us and he's always making these things work. So thank you to all of you. And please, until I see you again, please have a very, very... Do I have to say something else? I do. What do I have to say, Chris? I feel as if I'm missing something.
I am not aware.
All right, well, please, all of you out there, have a very, very blessed rest of the day. Bye-bye.